Comes left circle. Back out. Van Olma shot. Save. And the puck loose in behind. Comes out to Catton. Back over to Crystal. He shoots and scores! Andrew Crystal wins it in double overtime! The Chiefs are off to the Western Conference Finals. Andrew Crystal on the rebound with Krause down. And the Chiefs have eliminated the Royals 4-2. They will meet the Portland Winterhawks in the Western Conference Finals. Preston fires a puck and scores! Save and home! With this extra, the one-timer with the quick grip. And through Crystal, back of the house. Get the half, folks. AC is third of the night. Shoots and scores! Oh, what a play by Berkeley, Cat. Now there's Preston with a snipe.
Boys, we're going to the Western Conference Finals.
No. And who predicted the Chiefs in 6 in this series?
I don't know.
I think it was me.
Was it you?
It was me.
Good
I
call.
don't remember what I had for breakfast, and I don't remember ever putting a number on it, so I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But
Elliot, you said 6 or 7. I said 6.
yeah. What a series, though. I mean, just an absolute war between those two teams.
Yeah, no kidding.
So many overtime games and double overtime games.
Mm-hmm. Lots of different storylines with, Bame getting suspended for Victoria for that one game. And then, the Chiefs choking that big lead in game 3 and then, or game 4 rather, but still coming away with the victory again. And then their comeback in, game 3 and losing in the last 30 seconds. I mean, it was just a great series with a bunch of different events happening.
Very even for sure.
Yeah, I mean, hats off to Victoria.
Yeah.
Their top line, honestly, for the majority of the series,
Holy
dominated
cow.
our top line.
And even last night's game too.
Yeah, they were
with
great
their,
last
their
night
goals.
too.
Yeah.
So let's see. We did our last show last week after game 2.
Correct.
So now we're start with game 3.
First game in Victoria.
Yeah, so that first game in Victoria. After that kind of shit kicking in game 2, I didn't have my hopes super high necessarily, but they defied the odds there late in the game and came back and battled back a little bit, but pretty rough start to that game. Again, it seems to be a common theme for whatever reason, where we just can't get off to a lead early on. We always give it the first goal or two in the game and end up having to play from behind, which again is something that I've said that we're really good at, and it's impressive and it's a good feature to have on your team, but it's not something you want to be doing this late into the playoffs.
No, I would like to see something different, and I think we did in one of the games. What, game 5? We saw something different.
Yeah,
but it took a long time.
Yeah, that was. I don't know. I was really. I was thinking like the whole time, first period, giving up 3 goals in the first period, just taking some undisciplined penalties. Victoria's got the top power play in the league in the playoffs too, and I think TC has mentioned it to me a couple of times during the series. It's like you see that the refs are calling these little chintzy things. Like you got to just stop giving them a reason to call it.
Yes,
realistically, they shouldn't be calling that in a playoff game, but
right.
Yeah. That was my big thing with the refs for a majority of the series, especially as it seemed to teeter more pro Victoria calls. At a certain point, the onus is on the Chiefs and their coaching staff to be like, look, they're calling everything. You got to do something about it. You got to stop taking these penalties. You got to stop doing these things. They're going to call it. Stop doing it.
Exactly.
And then, if you take the penalty, it's on you to kill it. And for large amounts of this series, they were unable to do so.
Yeah, I felt like the first game it was definitely officiated like a playoff game,
Yeah.
and then after that, it just kind of went away. It was like a regular season. They called everything.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, a lot of those penalties you shouldn't even really be calling in the regular season either, which was kind of what was frustrating.
Right.
But you know, the Chiefs penalty kill kind of woke up as the series went along, I feel like too. But obviously Victoria's power play, I mean, they just moved the puck so well, and they're so good at taking advantage of, the slight little openings that they can find in the defense and finding the puck into the net. But
Mm-hmm.
that being said, the Chiefs penalty kill did wake up, later on in the series. It's great to see them, throwing the body on the line to block the shots. And I saw that a lot of that in the last two games here at
Mm-hmm.
the arena as well. I mean, I could count double digit numbers of, guys that are going down to just block, like diving at these shots they have no shot at even getting to. It's just like the will is there. And that's a positive sign. I think I would take away that in the penalty kill. But yeah, so game three, first period is all Victoria. Andrew Crystal got one back late in the first period to make it 3-1 after one. And then I feel like it was pretty much a defensive goalie battle there in the second period. No goals either side, but 6 minutes into the third period, Andrew Crystal gets another one for his 10th of the playoffs to make it a one-goal game. Chase Harrington ties it on a net front scramble for his third of the playoffs. 5 minutes left in the third. So, the Chiefs battled back from being down 3-0 early in the first period and tie the game late in the third. So, looking like we're headed for another overtime like we saw in game one in Spokane. But interesting call on that Will McIsaac high stick there late in the third period.
I've
I
seen
did,
replays of it, but I've not seen a slow motion replay of it to really tell what happened. They were all
yeah,
full speed.
I think he did a pretty good job of selling it. I don't remember who it was that took the stick, but he did a
Well,
pretty good job of selling it,
and
I
he
think.
got right back up
Yeah.
and got right back in the play. Like it didn't affect him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the Chiefs do take that late penalty, and Tatum Trembecki, the guy's just been killed us all series. I mean,
Yeah. I called the easy guy the Chiefs killer. It was Trembecki, the
yeah,
Chiefs killer.
Trembecki just had a hell of a series.
Yeah, he did.
And
Yep.
that was his hat trick goal for the game. And so he caps it off with the game winner with 30 seconds to go. So a huge dagger. Chiefs trailing in the series for the first time in these playoffs. So going into game four in Victoria on that Friday night, I was really nervous, in all honesty. I was a little bit nervous to see how we were going to come out because we hadn't been down in this series yet. We'd been either tied or in the lead in every game or every series so far. So I was really interested to see how that we're going to come out and if we're going to play with any extra intensity or um, anything like that too. And Jesus, man, they did. That first period in game four was complete 180 from game three.
I feel like it was the opposite of game two, where they got all the bounces. We got all the bounces that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I
100%.
mean, out shooting them 20-4 in the first period.
Yeah.
Just great all around effort. A lot of secondary scoring too, which was really nice to see. Only two of the goals were scored by our top line in that game too, out of the nine that we scored. So, um, yeah, 7 minutes into the game, Nathan Mays gets his first goal of the playoffs. Just a simple shot from the boards that found its way through traffic, and it's kind of goal you got to score in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And then a couple minutes later, Owen Martin gets his first goal of the playoffs. A nice little pass from Sarkey right there in the slot for backdoor tap in from Marty. Um, and then less than a minute later, Mathis Preston getting on the board again with his fifth goal of the playoffs. I mean, he had been snake bitten for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It was really nice to see him kind of get that goal, and he didn't score much the rest of the series after that. But I tell you what, he looks like he obviously wants to score a ton. That whole line has been so snake bitten for whatever reason. Like a couple different times last night, Preston missed a wide open net, whiffed on a
Harrington
shot.
too.
Harrington too, yeah.
Yeah.
Preston hit the post in overtime last night.
Yep.
I mean, it's just little things that once these start falling, I mean, it's just going to come in waves. But
Happened for Ulmer.
absolutely, and look,
Ulmer was
Yeah.
he was having a hard time, and he finally
having-
got one, and then
mm-hmm. So yeah, Preston gets his fifth of the year to give the Chiefs a 3-0 lead with 8 minutes to go in the first. But the Chiefs had other plans to continue scoring. 2 minutes later, Rasmus Ekstrom gets his first goal of the night. So it's 4-0 Chiefs, and I'm sitting here like I was so stressed before the game. Um, and then I was totally fine after the third goal. And then so it was nice to have a little bit extra cushion. Then Andrew Crystal finally gets on the board there, his 11th goal of the playoffs with about 5 minutes to go in the period. So the Chiefs take a 5-0 lead going into the first intermission. Um, I mean, complete 180 from the
Hmm.
previous game. What did you guys notice like differently from that period as opposed to the first period in game three?
I didn't notice anything different energy wise. It just felt like I had mentioned. I feel like the bounces finally went our way, whereas the first three games they didn't.
Mhm.
I mean, even the one that we won in game one. I mean, just all the pucks seemed to bounce the Victoria's way for 3 games.
Yeah.
It just
No, same
finally
thing.
started to turn
Yeah.
around.
Same thing. They look like the same team we had seen all series up to that point. They just, for whatever reason that night, everything was hitting twine
Yeah,
as opposed to either missing or getting deflected or whatever. So
yeah.
I didn't notice anything outside of the norm. It was kind of funny though, because it felt like for a sequence there in that first period that it was like if they just shot the puck on net, it was going
It was
in.
going, yeah,
Because
exactly.
I think they scored on 3 straight shots.
Yeah.
So um was definitely really nice to carry a big lead into the latter half of the game. But this team in big leads,
Yes.
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
I was saying last night, it's like I hate that I'm more comfortable being in like a 1 or 2 goal lead situation than I am a 6 goal lead situation. Is it?
Yeah,
I mean, realistically, that should not happen. But nonetheless, another note from that first period after I think it was the third goal, Johnny Hicks came off of the ice for Victoria and said something to Jaden Krause. And I couldn't really tell, but it looked like he was, apparently he was limping or something, like some sort of a injury. And Jaden Krause came in and played the remainder of the game. And then the remainder of the series, we didn't see Johnny Hicks again after that. So I still haven't heard. I heard a couple different things that it was an injury, like he was limping, and so it kind of looked like maybe like a groin issue. But I've also heard that he was super sick and had the flu. I know that he didn't take the bus back to Spokane with the team.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting because I went down to the thing when the boys came back from Victoria, and
Yeah.
Bobby Brett took us inside and got to fist bump the boys as they came off the bus and everything too. And then Victoria's bus pulled in right behind, and so they're
No.
all unloading their gear right next to each other. Johnny Hicks wasn't in there at all.
Crazy. That's weird.
But anyway, so yeah, going into the second period, first half of the second, pretty even back and forth. The Chiefs once again dominating the shots, 15-8 in the second period, but Taden Trembecki can't keep that guy off the scoreboard. Even in a 5-0 game, he pots one on the power play for his seventh of the playoffs. The Chiefs get a power play directly after that, though, and Rasmus Ekstrom gets his fifth goal of the playoffs, second goal of the night. So, nice answer by the Chiefs after giving up a goal there. So it's 6-1 at that point, and then I mean, you can't stop Rasmus Ekstrom on the power play once again. It was a double minor. So right out the ensuing faceoff, he comes back down, and 18 seconds after his second goal, he gets his third goal of the night. I think that's his third career hat trick in the WHL for his sixth goal of the playoffs. So Chiefs take a huge 7-1 lead at that point halfway through the game. So after 30 minutes, it's looking pretty good, 7-1. Victoria does get one late in the second period with about, I think it says 11 seconds left. And then so it's 7-2 going into the third period. And I'm starting to kind of shit my pants again because this feels like a repeat of game two in Vancouver. And I was just really nervous that they were going to come out and kind of lay an egg again. And were you guys feeling any of that too?
Well, I don't want to glance over that goal that they scored late in the second. It was a bad goal.
Oh,
Like
100%.
it was they caught us in a late line change, up ice, nobody within 15 feet of him, and he just skates on in on Callan and backhand forehand pots it. And
Yeah.
it was I don't know how closely you were listening to Boiler, but I'm sure his emotions and the words that he said kind of all match what we thought. Like that is not you cannot give up that goal.
Yeah.
And it gave them something good to feel about going into the third period, going into their locker room. And, I mean, five's better than six, I guess. And they they gave us everything we could handle in that third, as we'll get to. So,
Well, and the
um,
thing that I don't like is the fact that that did happen in Vancouver, and I feel like every time we have a big lead, that's going to be in the back of their heads too, and
Hmm.
it's going to screw with them. So and honestly, I mean, yeah, they scored a few goals in the third period too, which thankfully they did. Otherwise, it would have been a hell of a lot closer. But Victoria came out and scored four in the third period to make it a 3-goal final. But yes, they got that late one in the second, and then 2 minutes in to the third period, Chiefs were on the power play, and just a bad turnover leads to a Hayden Moore rush the other way. Gets his first goal of the playoffs to make it 7-3. Chiefs go on that ensuing power play that they had. Mathis Preston scores his sixth goal of the playoffs, second goal of the night. So a nice answer once again. So it's 8-3 at that point. And then Victoria pretty much dominated the next 5 minutes. They would get another power play, and Brandon Lazowski would get his fifth of the playoffs. Uh, and then 2.5 minutes later, Taden Trembecki once again getting on the board for his eighth goal of the playoffs. And so it's 8-5 at that point. If my math's right. Yes. Okay. And then halfway through the third period, Berkeley Catton gets on the board. A nice little play between him and Crystal there in
That
the
was nice.
slot. Nice little backhand feed from Crystal. Found Catton there for his sixth of the playoffs. So that gives the Chiefs a 9-5 lead. Victoria would get one more from Cole Reshney on the power play. So penalty kill in this game, not good once again. Our power play was, had a good showing in that game. We were 3 for 6, but Victoria was also 3 for 6. So just some little things like that you got to clean up. Like our PK was in the top 5 in the league all season. It's I feel like it was okay. It was pretty good against Vancouver, but this series it really struggled against one of the top power plays.
Hmm.
And I think that's a huge thing that they're going to have to take into consideration going into the next round against Portland, because Portland's got a good special teams out there as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, so Chiefs get back to tie the series at 2 games apiece going into game 5 on Saturday. Once again up in Victoria because we were playing that 2-3-2 series.
Let,
Um,
let me ask you. You're always asking us, how do you feel at this point after being even 2 games piece?
um, I feel like game 5 is the most important game in the series.
Yeah.
yeah.
Because whoever wins game 5 notoriously is going to win the series. I
Yeah.
mean, um, or game, yeah, game 5. So yeah, going into it, I mean, especially in Victoria with on a Saturday night, they had a decent crowd of like 6,500-ish there.
Hmm.
Um, and a really good team. And the Shea Van Olm said it on the postgame show last night. Like the crowd has a huge factor in how your team can play. Like a huge
Mm.
momentum swing could go either way. Um, and for sure that they definitely helped Victoria. Victoria got off to a 1-0 lead halfway through the first period. Reggie Newman's second to the playoffs. So it's all the scoring in the first period. It was all Victoria though. I mean, they outplayed the hell out of us in that first period.
Mm.
It wasn't pretty, and the Chiefs looked like that they kind of gave all that they had offensively the night before, and all of a sudden we just can't seem to score. Jaden Krause in net for them once again. He played great, but Victoria out shooting the Chiefs 11-5 after the first period. Not really like the Chiefs
No.
to get outshot like that.
No.
Um, so we're trailing 1-0 after one. And I just kind of had the start in the second period too. I started having a really bad feeling like, man, we're really gonna go down in this series. Like I was not feeling confident at all. Um, especially when Cole Reshney gets that power play goal 3 minutes into the second period, to make it a 2-0 Victoria lead. And yeah, like I said, I mean, it was a little bit more even on the shots, but I still feel like majority of play was controlled by Victoria in that second period.
Well, I do too.
I mean, the Chiefs didn't really wake up at all until maybe like 3 or 4 minutes to go in the second period, and then it was pretty much all
Yeah.
Chiefs after that. But
Yeah.
um, it's just so weird to me how we seem to struggle so much in the first half of the game, and then we seem to just come alive in the last half. I don't understand that.
Except for
Well,
the two blowout games, we'll call them blowout games, one against Vancouver and then
Right,
game
right.
yeah.
4 there too. When we have the lead, it's almost like we're not comfortable taking a big lead. We're more comfortable being behind. It makes zero sense logically, but it seems to be.
Yeah.
Well, and for about 2/3 of this game, they, the Chiefs, it looked like they had no answer for anything Victoria gave. Like the intensity wasn't there. They had no match for the intensity. I mean, as I was telling you, I was having some dark thoughts about this team, about the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I was sitting there watching this game thinking like, this is not a playoff ready hockey team that we're watching, and Victoria has exposed that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was watching very intently, and I was just nitpicking every little thing that the Chiefs were doing. I was and just using that to kind of double down on this idea I had that they are deeply flawed. And I still, spoiler alert, we win the series, but I still have this feeling that this team has a lot of flaws, playoff wise, that I'm just waiting for it to catch up to them. I don't want it to. I want to be wrong, but I've it seems like Victoria found something that I have a bad feeling Portland will also be able to take advantage of. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's again, that's ultimately up to the Chiefs and the coaching staff to address those issues. Because they just they can't keep doing this. They can't keep falling down 2, 3 goals every game and then expecting to come back and win them all. It keeps happening, but
It's going to catch up to him at some point.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's so anyway, you can move forward to the good stuff.
No,
No,
you talk about
I
playoff
agree
ready though.
though.
I agree. These guys have not been to the playoffs with the exception of a small handful of these players before too, and it's almost like they still just don't quite get it. But I feel like that being said, every time they have one of these hiccups, whether it's a game where they fall behind initially, where they have a big lead and then let the other team back into it, they're learning more and more from each of those incidents too. And I just figure that's going to make us better as we go along.
I hope you're right.
Yeah,
I do too.
Yeah.
I am. That's a good mindset to have as a fan too. I think because it's probably there's some truth to that for sure. It's like as you get deeper into the playoffs, the guys that do have that experience are passing all that on to the younger kids and everything too. So, and we've seen the secondary scoring and the 16, 17-year-olds showing up in these playoffs so far too. So it's a
absolutely.
good sign for sure. Um, and you were talking about, the coaching, getting the guys kind of ready for, the deeper parts of the postseason and everything and adjusting your style of play a little bit. We got out coached flat, plain and simple in games 2 and 3. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, nothing changed when we were, down 2, 3 goals. You have to switch something up, change the lines up a little bit. I feel like that message, he kind of realized that going into game 5
Mm-hmm.
in or game 4 rather in Victoria, because we're down 4-1 going into the third period, and then switch those lines up a little bit. It just takes one little subtle change. You moved Preston up to the
Top
top
line.
line, and then Crystal down to the second line, and then Sarky back to the third line. And for whatever reason, that worked wonders because Victoria has their game plan set up to shut down our top line, and they did a hell of a job doing that all series.
Mm-hmm.
And so you take Crystal off of that and put him back on another line. That's one more shift that Crystal's going to have, one extra lane open up to make a move or, um, you know, it's just little changes like that they got to make. And if something's not working, you can't just try to force it because you're going to get shut down every time. And it worked
Yeah.
because the Chiefs in that third period out shooting Victoria 16-1.
Isn't that crazy?
and it started early in the third. Owen Martin on net front scramble, banging away at the puck, getting his second goal of the playoffs to make it a 4-2 game. And then Shea Van Olm tipping a Braden Crampton shot from the point about a minute later to make it 4-3. So I'm like, hell yeah, like I'm stoked. Brandon was sitting up here with me watching it. We were fired up and drinking and getting, we're fired up. And then for the most part, all the play was down in the Victoria end of the ice because the Chiefs just for whatever reason took a bunch of roids in the intermission or something and just started going to town. Um, had some great chances all throughout the entire third period. Just, hit a post here and there, missed a couple of wide open nets, got stoned by Kraus. Finally, with about 3 minutes left to go in the third period with the Chiefs down 4-3, Captain Clutch Berkeley Catton comes down on a simple little rush between the defenders and just sniped it far side on Kraus to tie the game up at 3 or
Kind of went
4.
like he kind of went like 1-on-3 to make that happen too. It looked very harmless.
Bro, what a shot.
Yeah.
His shot is ridiculous. And it's so good to see him able to make those kinds of moves even in the playoffs. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
he's such a special player. It's so fun to watch him play, but he has the capability of scoring those clutch goals when we need it.
Yeah.
And he's shown that all year, and now he's showing it in the postseason as well. So huge goal to tie the game. The Chiefs buckled down defensively from that point on too. Honestly, for whatever reason, when we're in a do or die situation in overtime, our defense plays the way that they need to be playing all 60 minutes of every game.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that in game one in the double overtime
Yep.
game.
Mm-hmm.
Pure domination from our defensive
From
lines.
the third period on that game, yeah.
Yeah. And then this game too. I mean, for a third period on in this game as well, like we're, pretty huge hill to climb down 4-1 in the third period and battle back to tie the game late, play through 1958 of this first overtime. Both teams had some insane chances. I mean, Rast had that wide open net that he just whiffed on, topped
Yeah.
over it. A couple teams had power plays in overtime. Victoria had that one rush where Cowan made that sprawling diving save. Him and Oremba were right there.
Mm-hmm.
On
And then,
Brezhnev.
and then he
Mhm.
flung the puck right over Cowan and then right over the crossbar. And
Yeah.
that was, I mean, there was a couple minutes left, 4 minutes left in that at that point. And Chiefs get a little bit of a rush with the last 15 or so seconds in the first overtime. Sam Oremba getting the puck into the zone, wired it around behind the net to Crystal. He tried to hit an Ekstrom out front. Ekstrom was actually wide open out front, right in front of the tendy, and he just missed the puck. Came out to the point to Weinstein, who fired a slap shot with 3 seconds to go, bounced off of the backboards right to Crystal, and he got in the backhand and buried it with 2 seconds to go. I jumped up so high, I'm pretty sure I almost hit my head on the ceiling up here. Brandon and I were so fired up. And it's so, especially being down 4-1 going into the third period. I was, fully preparing myself to watch game 6 here being down 3-2. And seeing the resilience of this team when they're in those situations, even though we shouldn't be put in those situations, but the resilience that they showed is a huge confidence boost for the whole team. And it's so much different going into a game 6 at home when you have the chance to end the series there as opposed to fighting for your playoff lives and having to force game 7. I didn't want to go back to the arena tonight.
No.
Like sitting in there watching the game last night, I was thinking like, dude, if they scored, I have to go back here tomorrow. I'm gonna be so pissed.
Yeah.
Like
as much as game 7s are exciting, you don't want it.
No, I don't want it.
Yeah, I was not trying to watch that in this hotel room on this computer after watching the marathon that was last night until about 1:30 a.m. Central Time. I was not trying to do that again. So
yeah, I don't blame you, dude. I felt so bad for you because I felt bad for Boiler too because he had another doubleheader yesterday.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
The Indians played a late morning game and then they ended up winning like 17-5 or something yesterday.
Jeez.
And then the game going to almost a triple overtime again last night too. But I don't know if you guys heard that Boilers call. I mean, TC, I know you did,
Yes.
but what a
Yeah.
call on that
Yeah.
goal too.
Yeah. I think you
Um,
should post this in this
I'm
podcast.
I'm gonna play it at the start of the episode,
Yeah.
but anyway, what a game! I mean, it's so huge having that 3-2 lead coming into Game 6. And I was just talking about I went down and but a couple of the fans in the fan group organized like a thing to come and welcome the boys back
That was
from
cool.
Victoria, and that's
That
probably
was cool.
15
Yeah.
or so, 15, 20 of us that were down there. And we were just kind of Boiler was actually updating us because he was on the bus. He was updating us on like when they were going to be
Oh,
there and
that's where
stuff
you were
too.
getting that's where you were
Yeah,
getting your updates from? That's
yeah.
funny.
But we were all standing there by like the service entrance at the arena where they pull in to park the bus, and Bobby Brett came down from his condo like 2 minutes before the bus arrived, and it was like talking to all of us and stuff too. And everybody was like holding up their signs and cheering when the bus pulled in. And then Bobby's like, just follow me back here. Let's go welcome, like see him off the bus or whatever. And so he brought us down into like the service entrance down there, and we just all waited for the boys to all get off the bus, and they all came up and gave us all high fives and knuckles and everything. And so I thought that was pretty cool. And then I was talking about Victoria's players coming in right behind. I thought that was interesting. I've never seen
A
how
caravan.
that whole situation
Yeah.
works. Um, but no, yeah, it was a cool experience too, for sure. But I think the boys were all they're all really thankful for the fans coming down there and doing that too. I'm sure it means a ton to them. But yeah, so it was great to see us come back with a 3-2 series lead. And going into Game 6 last night at the arena, an instant classic, as Mike Boyler called it.
Oh, it was. It was everything. It was everything
Dude.
that you would have wanted it to be.
And I know you guys weren't at the arena last night, but you could just feel like the energy in the air as you walked into the arena too. I mean, that was the biggest crowd that we've had in the playoffs so far. And I really hope that going into the West Finals against a US division rival that it grows even more
Oh
to
yeah.
the point where they have to be forced to open the upper level.
It's a goal to have for
I
sure.
don't
Can
see
we
that happening personally, but
can we start a movement on social media, like hashtag drop the curtain or
I like
something,
it.
just
I
just
like
for
it.
Friday, just please.
yeah,
Hashtag no blackout.
no blackout.
Yeah, something like, because I really feel like with the notoriety that the team is getting the later they go into the playoffs, and it is becoming palpable. Like
100%.
I'm seeing people talk about the team that I never would see
Oh,
talk
me
about the team.
too.
Same
Me
here.
too.
Yeah,
And if you open that upper bowl with those cheaper seats, people will buy them.
Yep.
It's simple economics.
Yep.
yeah.
But if
Eh,
people go to buy tickets and the only thing they see is $35 in the lower bowl, they're not going to buy them.
yeah.
Exactly.
So,
100%. But I will
man,
say for Tuesday night playoff game, it was great to see at least half of the arena filled because the entire
yeah,
lower bowl was filled pretty much to the brim last night, and it was loud as hell in there. I mean, when Shea Van Olm scored his hat trick goal in the first couple of minutes of the third period last night, you couldn't even hear the goal horn or anything. Like the crowd was so loud, and it was awesome, and that just goes to show that we need a real loud goal horn to.
Yes, we do.
Anyway, um,
Mhm.
I
early
digress.
early on, the Chiefs once again fall behind. Owen Shetler taking a hooking penalty 2 minutes into the game, and Marcus Lopinen would make the Chiefs pay on the power play to take a 1-0 lead. Chiefs honestly came out with a lot of energy, like they weren't gonna take losing another game, which was good to see. And it kind of stayed throughout the game. But Victoria also is playing, they're a desperate team playing with the backs against the wall. So you knew that it was going to be a physical, emotional game going in. And it that definitely didn't disappoint. Shea Van Olm's seventh goal of the playoffs was an absolute beauty.
Do you think, and this is my thought watching it many, many times, do you think, I think he lost that puck, which ended up
He
turning it into
did.
the biggest dangle in the world.
He did.
Yeah.
He on the post game last night with Boyle, he admitted that. He said he kind of fumbled the puck and lost it and just happened to like pull back at the perfect time and pull it forward, and he
Yeah.
walked right through those two defensemen and then put on a beautiful forehand backhand move, and that got the arena going again after giving up that early goal to tie the game up at 1.
Yeah. The only goal the Chiefs scored that the net was more open than that was his third goal of the game.
No kidding. No kidding.
That tic-tac-toe play there.
That was beautiful.
Yeah.
Uh, he had himself a hell of a game last night. And like you were just talking about a little bit ago, like he was the guy that was struggling early
Snake
on in the
bit. Yeah.
playoffs and snake bitten and everything too. And now it's finally starting to come together for him. And um, really good to see because he was the, WHL's leading goal scorer for the year. So you expect that going into
Yeah.
the playoffs too. And hasn't disappointed, as of now anyway. But yeah, first goal of the night, seventh of the playoffs there to tie the game up at 1. Late in the first period, Taden Trembecki would walk in. I think it was right as the power play expired and just sniped
It's a
one
nice
past
shot.
Cowan. I mean, it was a good shot. I feel like that's one that Cowan's going to want to have back a little bit, but because I had the view right there, and it's like there wasn't much of a screen.
It was a
I don't
perfect
think
shot.
it was a perfect shot for sure. Trembecki's a hell of a player.
Yeah, he is. I wish we had him.
Yep.
No kidding.
Really, any other top three guys, I would take any one of them in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
Oreshny's going to go in the first round this year.
Yeah, or
He had
even
a good
he's the
series
guy.
too.
The way the way that dude moves and the way that his motor runs.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
even in the second overtime, it looked like he had fresh legs. But
Um, but yeah, so it's looking like at that point, it was looking like we're going to go into the first intermission down 2-1. Sage Weinstein had other plans. 30 seconds after that, Taden Trembecki goal. Sage Weinstein would throw a simple shot from the point that just kind of bounced and fluttered its way over the goalie to tie the game up at 2. So again, the Chiefs really good at answering a opposing goal. Nice to see that going into the intermission. I was a little bit concerned with going into the intermission, giving up a late goal because that seems to be kind of a trend where we do that and then we just completely fall apart. So it was nice to see us kind of answer quickly and go in tied as opposed to trailing. Um, Pretty even second period overall too. I mean, Victoria outshot the Chiefs 10-5, but I feel like both teams had some chances. The Chiefs just missed a ton of wide open nets in that period and missed the net completely. Um, the Chiefs would be the only goal scorers of the second period, though, as late with 17 seconds to go in the second period. Shea Van Olm just crashing the net and getting his own rebound, turning and throwing it toward the net, and it bounced off of Keaton Verhoff's skate right into the back of the net to give the Chiefs a huge 3-2 lead going into the second intermission. The crowd was bumping there too. I mean, that really got the energy going again with not really any scoring since late in the first period. The energy was there, but it was like if the crowd can get going and get behind the boys a little bit too. I mean, that really boosted them up. And then they continued it a minute into the third period, that tic-tac-toe play you were just talking about, that Berkeley Catton and finding Andrew Crystal in the slot and Van Olm wide open over in the corner. Snipes home his second playoff hat trick of this playoffs,
Yeah,
ninth
that
goal overall.
that goal was so wide open. That goal came so far out. That goal, so any of the three of us could have scored on that one.
Yeah, no kidding.
That was wide open.
Just a hell of a shot, and he the hats that were thrown on the ice too. I mean, I feel like that's our third hat trick of the playoffs so far. I more and more I've seen more hats every single time that there's been a hat trick. I mean, the most hats that I've ever seen thrown for a hat trick before. Um, Really cool. Unfortunately, Kenta Isagai would score 2 minutes after that to keep Victoria in the game, 4-3 at this point. Victoria starts pushing back a little bit, knowing that their backs are really against the wall now with only 20 minutes to go potentially in their season if they don't get back into it.
yeah, I was actually real quick. I was going to say something.
Yeah, go for
This
it.
might be a hot take, but was there ever possibly a worse time to have a hat trick goal than when he scored it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Early in the third, still a pretty close game. bit of a distraction. Hats hit the ice. Everyone's pumped. Music's bumping. Fans are vibing. Oh, by the way, we still got like 19 minutes of
I
hockey to play
know.
up to.
Yeah.
I know. Well, and then they scored that. East guy scored that goal with 17 minutes to go, and I'm looking at the clock. I'm like, dude, we've only got a 1 goal lead, and there's still a whole period to play.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like it's one thing if you score the Hattie when the game's out of reach or late
Right.
or whatever, but with how much time there was left and with how pretty rapidly he scored the last two of it between the late in the second, early in the third.
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean, obviously this is hindsight, but nobody was probably thinking that when he scored it. I'm pretty sure most people in the back of their minds, myself included, when he scored that hat trick goal, were probably just thinking, "That's it, boys. Like, let's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
get out of here. Let's go take on Portland or Everett." Um, Completely forgetting that there's still
Yeah.
basically the rest of the period to play, the
Only
whole thing.
only
So
thing worse would
anyway,
have been having a 6 goal lead.
No shit.
Yeah.
oh, don't scare me. I'm so
I
scared.
know. But the Chiefs would hold Victoria off the board there for the next 13, 14 minutes. The Chiefs had a couple of chances to bury another one too. It
Yeah.
never came to fruition. I mean, between hitting posts and just missing nets and Kraus making some huge saves on the other end for Victoria, they just couldn't seem to find that fifth goal. Brandon Lazowski coming down with about 3.5 left, and had a rush that Crampton got beat, hustled back.
He made a great initial play on
He
it.
did. He beat it. I mean, that first block that he made, he flung his body out there, went too far because the
Yeah.
guy toe dragged and threw his arm back and blocked a shot. I mean, that was a great defensive play right there, by far. Great. Unfortunately, it bounced off of his arm right back to his stick.
Yeah.
And I feel like that kind of threw Cowan off a little bit. And he just, again, just a perfect shot, just threw it at the net and it happened to find its way in. And I just had my head in my lap right there. I'm like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? Like, and poor Chloe was pissed sitting at the game with me last night too. She's like, are you kidding me? We have to go to overtime. Like, I want to go to bed. Like, and she was a trooper though.
Telling me
I'll
I'm two
give her
hours ahead of you
credit.
now.
Yeah, no kidding. She was a trooper though. I'll give her credit. Um, so yeah, at that we go to our third overtime game of the series. Chiefs, if the Chiefs score the next goal, the series is over and they move on to the Western Conference Finals. We learned at that point that we'd be playing Portland in the next round as they beat Everett in their game 7, 4-2 last night. Um,
Hats off to
so
them for coming back from being down 2-0 in the series.
yeah, for sure. And Everett once again proving that they're the biggest choke artists in the WHL.
Seems like it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw that dagger in you guys right now.
Well, all the social media comments are saying too, so it must be true.
Yeah.
Well, it's been that way. I think Everett's made the WHL finals maybe one time in their franchise.
Yeah, I know they've never won the league. I know that.
I want to say that it was like their first or second year in the league in like 03 or 04 they made it to the finals and lost. I think that's the only time they've ever gone that far, which is crazy when you think about
Think about the goalies they've
how
had.
good that how many good teams they've had over the years too.
Mm-hmm.
One more note before we go into the overtimes. It was interesting seeing a lot of penalties called in the first period. A lot of like chintzy hooking calls and trips and everything too. Um, and then pretty much nothing really called after that until overtime. I mean, they really let a lot of stuff go from this, halfway through the second period through the entire rest of regulation. I mean,
Mm.
there were so many penalties that I was honestly surprised weren't called. And then I found it a little bit strange that there were what was it?
There was
5 penalties
there was
called
5
in the first
in
overtime.
the overtime. Yeah.
Um, pressing in that high stick that real obviously you have to call a high stick. I understand that one. Kipke got called for hooking, which I thought was a little bit of a chintzy call, but at the same time, I think it was enough to where it would be a penalty in a regulation or whatever too. Obviously, in overtime, you'd want them to kind of let them play a little bit and get away with a little bit more. But Um, so, 1-1 at that point, the Chiefs take a really bad too many men penalty after that. I mean, that's just something that you can't have happen in overtime, especially in the playoffs with the top power play on the other end.
Yeah, that's the kind of penalty that you take that, and immediately the dark thoughts go in, and it's like, okay, well, game seven, see you tomorrow, guys, because
Hmm.
that's typically not the type of penalty you end up killing.
Right,
Correct.
Yeah.
right. And Victoria hit, I think, two posts in the first overtime on those power plays that they had too. So Cowan getting bailed out a little bit, but we're going to talk about Cowan for a second. He was lights out last night. I mean, he made a
Nails.
couple of huge saves that kept the Chiefs in the game, and uh, I mean, honestly, I think that was probably overall his best game of the playoffs. He was clutch when he needed to be, and that's exactly what the Chiefs needed. So, um, but yeah, and then Sarkanoff taking a hooking penalty that I think could have gone uncalled, but then kind of a makeup call 30 seconds into that power play, Brandon Lisowski, and called for a slashing penalty, which was a pretty chancy call, in my opinion, as well. But anyway, so go through the entire first overtime. A lot of special teams play. The Chiefs' penalty kill was great, blocking shots left and right, doing their thing. Our power play looked good, I thought. But like I said, between missing wide open nets, hitting posts, and Victoria guys selling out to block the shots, just couldn't find anything into the back of the net. And then majority of the second overtime was just, back and forth action. For the most part, the Chiefs, I felt like defensively really, like I was just talking about a little bit ago, really stepped up in the extra time, especially in that second overtime. I love seeing them just kind of gather the puck and then get to the red line, dump it in, dump it, chase. I mean, that's just playoff overtime hockey right there, and the Chiefs executed it to perfection, in all honesty. Had some great chances to score there in the second overtime as well, but it would not come until Nate Miskey takes a high stick on Catton that cut him open with about 4 minutes to go, just under 4 minutes to go. So the Chiefs get a 4 minute power play with 3:50 to go in the second overtime. And, as I'm thinking, like, we have to end it now. Like, we're on the power play for the remainder of this period at least. Gotta find a way to get it done. And, the power play, I feel like as the game went on, looked better and better too. Really nice job of moving the puck around from Crampton, Crystal, and Ulmer in the slot right there. Uh, Crystal had the puck and skated from right to left and cut across, found Van Ulm in the slot for a one timer that Kraus actually made a great save on, but it ended up squeaking through his pads and was sitting right behind him in the crease right there. And the Chiefs just couldn't get a stick on it, but it came back over to Catton, kind of right in the middle there. And he found Crystal wide open over there in the corner, and he gathered it and just buried it because Kraus was still down trying to recover from trying to go back to save that puck behind him in the crease. And um, uh, Crystal buried it, and the arena went absolutely ape shit. Did you guys see Crystal Selly?
Yes.
Unreal,
Yeah,
unreal.
I want to know who got his stick.
I know, me
Yeah,
too.
I was wondering that too. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool. I've not
if
seen in person anybody throw their stick into the stands.
yeah, whoever caught that, if you just happen to be a listener by chance, it would be kind of cool if you'd reach out to one of us and let us know, because I'd
Yeah,
like to know, like, if the team let you keep it and
Yeah.
or
yeah.
how that works. I don't really know how that works in junior hockey.
I don't either. But yeah, no, that I mean, what a Selly, and the team went nuts, and I love seeing the emotion out of those guys that are on the ice. I mean, Ekstrom and Catton and Ulmer and all those guys, they were so pumped up, and um, just a great way to end the series. I was just really happy, honestly, that it didn't go into another overtime because I did say that if we went into third overtime, I was calling out of work. Uh, I mean, honestly, I didn't leave the arena. We didn't leave until right before 11:30 or so last night
Wow.
too. So it was a long night, but in the end it was worth it. And got to see the Chiefs eliminate Victoria and move on to the Western Conference Final for the first time since the 2019 season. Again, though, just got to say, what a series. Victoria's top line, their defense, their goaltending, everything was great. Their coach did a hell of a job coaching against Lauer this series too. So hats off to Victoria. They're going to be good for another few years too. They got Reshny for another couple of years, and Trembecki's got another year in them too. And they're going to be scary for sure.
No, I now know why you were afraid to play them in the first round when we still didn't know what the first round matchups were going to be. They proved why you were afraid of that.
Yeah,
I was
they
very impressed with them.
Yeah.
I admittedly, they were kind of a blind spot for me. I
Me too.
did
Me
not
too.
know much about them. I knew Reshny's awesome. I knew about Trembecki. I knew about Isagai. Outside of that, I didn't know much about them. Didn't really pay much attention to them. I think it's just, BC division. Don't really
Yeah.
Well,
Don't
and
feel
follow
like I
not
have.
what we do
only
in the
that,
US.
we didn't see them at all this year until late in January either.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so they were kind of a blind spot for me. I knew they finished the season red hot, which
Yeah.
was a little scary. I mean, they shot up from, I think, like the 6 seed to the 2/3,
Right.
very quickly. Like in the span of like 2 weeks, they went all the way up, and
They only finished 2 points
so,
behind us in the standings.
Yeah.
yeah. So really impressed with them. I know I've been kind of the negative person lately. I am glad that they managed to expose some deficiencies that we had that Vancouver was not able to expose, because hopefully that will allow the Chiefs to correct those
Mhm.
issues that Victoria took advantage of so much um, going into the Portland series. So shout out Victoria. Also really nice fans too.
Yeah.
I talked to some people in some comment sections back and forth, and really nice people. So
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I
yeah,
don't have anything negative to say about their fans, unlike some other
no, no,
franchises. But
not at
um,
all.
Let me ask you guys both this question too. I know we can't pull out the crystal ball or go back in time. Do you think this series plays out differently if Hicks continues the series in that for them?
yeah.
He seemed to kind of have our number.
So the way that I see it is he played very, very well in those first two games. Game three, they played Jaden Krause. And we now know that I almost wonder if he was like kind of dealing with something. This
If
is
that
why
happened
Krause
then,
had started
yeah,
that game.
yeah,
Mhm.
And then he started again in game four and he looked pretty shaky and then came out
yeah.
early. Um, yeah, I mean, I think it definitely, I think that I don't think we would have scored as much. I'll say
No,
that.
no. He,
It would have been a little bit different for sure.
yeah, I could see it going seven. I could see it being a much more contested series for sure. I
Well,
and
and
maybe not having the outcome.
I don't want to sit here and act like Kraus played bad by any means.
No,
I mean,
he
No,
was
he
great.
played
no.
out of his mind,
Well, he's
and
their number one goalie all year long.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't want, I really hope there's no Victoria fans walking away from this series, and I'm sure there is, but I really hope there isn't too many of them walking away from this series thinking that they lost because of the goalie issues.
Yeah.
Because I know when we had to play Essler, when Cowan took that weird fluky injury in warmups or whatever was wrong with him, there was a lot of Chiefs fans that were just like, "Oh, well, you beat us because we had our 16-year-old goalie in net." Okay,
I hate some of our
so
fans too.
yeah, so I really hope that I didn't see this too much in comment sections or in conversations about people being like, "Well, you only beat us because Hicks got hurt." So, I don't think there's too many Victoria fans that are walking away that way.
No.
But I will agree with you, in that I think the series probably goes seven.
Yeah.
He probably wins them one more game.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Maybe I don't know. It's hard to know which one. I mean, take that 3-goal comeback in game five. Maybe he stops Cat and Shot
Right.
in
Yeah.
this hypothetical,
Yeah.
assuming everything plays out the same way, and we don't tie it and we go down there. So it definitely plays out differently.
I definitely think so too. I'm just curious your guys' take on that.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good question.
One more note that I have on this final game, and I feel like it got a lot better as the series progressed. The Chiefs dominated in the faceoff dot in Game 6 last night.
Did
I want to
they?
talk about that too. Yeah,
Dominated. Won the faceoff battle 56-39.
Oh wow.
Owen Martin was great in the dot. I noticed him a lot last night, and it's not only those, neutral zone faceoffs. I mean, we were winning those first faceoffs on the power play. We were winning the first faceoffs on the penalty kill. They're starting to lose the faceoff. You have everybody piling in to jump on the puck to get it out. Everything too. I mean, a huge step up for the first 2 or 3 games of the series. I mean,
Good.
as the series went along, it got better and better. And then, yeah, just that was one note that I wanted to mention. Owen
yeah, that's the
Martin,
thing that I was upset about previously. So it was I noticed that too in real time. It finally felt like, oh no, we're winning these
yeah,
faceoffs.
yeah,
More than they were, and we were winning faceoffs in the power play, and we were winning faceoffs on the penalty kill, which is probably why we were having better PK success the further the series went on.
right. Berkeley Catton won 22 of 33. Owen
Yeah,
Martin
that's
went
great.
14 of 29. Rass 20 for 28.
Yeah,
Attaboy.
that'll
So
that'll that'll work in any series.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And that's a little thing that makes a huge difference.
I
Mhm.
feel like Rask just got, I mean, he's been solid all playoffs long. I felt like he got better and better every game.
He
Yeah.
did. He's been so good.
Yeah.
He has been so good. So good. So yeah, the Chiefs close out Victoria and move on to the Western Conference Finals. Just looking at this up, I watched a little bit of the second and third period. Lethbridge wins game 7 at Calgary 3-1. So Lethbridge is going to move on in the East to play Medicine Hat. So I think that's going to be a fun series
That's
to
going to
kind
be,
of keep an eye on
I
too.
plan on watching some of that for
Yeah, it's going
sure.
to be a good series to watch too. Going into the series against Portland, seeing they
Cheaters.
play they played in 2 game 7 so far. They played 7 game series against Prince George
Mm-hmm.
and a 7 games or yeah, 7 game series against Everett too. But they were down 2-0 in that Everett series and battled back, won the next 2 or 3 or won the next 3. And
But
then
and to be fair though, those first 2 games were overtime losses. I mean, that series was close all the way along too,
it was
just like our series was.
for sure. Um, Portland, another feels weird saying this, but Portland, another young team,
Mm-hmm.
kind of honestly not really in the middle of a rebuild necessarily, but like a kind of like a mini retooling.
Mm-hmm.
Getting the new coach this year with Johnston stepping down as head coach, and they get a different stud European goalie every year, it seems like, because
Mm-hmm.
Stebatak's been great for him all year.
Yes, he has.
So that's going to be a huge test. That's what I think is going to be the biggest thing is, you know, I said it after the Vancouver series, like this isn't going to get any easier. Um, Stebatak's just as good as Johnny Hicks, just as good as Burke Hood, if not better.
Yep.
And this top line's going to have to stay consistent all series if we want to have a shot at this.
Yep. I agree. I agree. And here we are once again, Portland playing hot at the right time to end the season and just kind of rolling. We're having kind of for them a so-so year, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
No.
So,
Good team for them. What they do, it's a winning franchise.
Yeah, it is.
It's what, as much as we hate them, it's what we need to be.
Yep.
And
100%.
and this would go a long way to this franchise reestablishing itself as a winning franchise, would be
Yeah,
exercising our Portland demon.
Yeah.
And
for sure.
because it's not recent history because we haven't been good for quite a while, but we
Yeah.
have some bad history in the last 15 years with Portland of them always coming out on top. So that isn't carried by anybody on this team currently or by the coaching staff, but it is certainly carried by the fans.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
So
absolutely. And um, Portland's one of those teams that I just cannot stand. So I'm really looking forward to this series, and I'm really hoping that the Chiefs can keep playing the way they've been playing and figure out a way to beat Portland. I mean, we won the season series. I know regular season doesn't necessarily matter now, but I think that's a good
It's a
having that in the back of
positive.
your head is a good it helps your mindset going in.
Absolutely.
Um, And if, getting that game 6 win last night gives them an extra day of rest too, which is another big thing. So I'm really just looking forward to another good series. It's nice to see we have home ice advantage against the Winterhawks as well.
Another weird sequence of games though, with something going on here.
Yeah, so Jeff Dunham is here on Saturday, and
Yeah.
then like the Cirque du Soleil is here like
But that's so
Thursday.
we're gonna have to do the 2-3-2 again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how it is it'll be Friday, Sunday here, Wednesday the 30th, Thursday, May 1st, and Saturday, May 3rd in Portland. And then game 6 and 7, if necessary, will be back here Monday, May 5th, and Tuesday, May 6th.
Yeah. They
So
must have something going on down there for their games to be spread out like that too.
yeah, I thought that was a little bit interesting that they would go Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday instead
Yeah.
of Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Oh, works out for us because them getting 2 weekend games when we only get one sort of two and
Right.
we're the higher seed, that would be kind of annoying, but um the worst thing about the 2-3-2 really, and we ran into this with Victoria, is that if you split with them at home in games 1 and 2, they effectively steal home ice from you. So
Exactly.
I mean, you gotta split at a minimum, but also it kind of sucks knowing you can go down there and theoretically lose the series. But
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be another good series. It's
yeah,
nice it's nice to see the Chiefs be in this position to play in the West Conference Finals for sure.
yeah, I hope,
This is what we hoped for halfway through the season when we saw how good we really were.
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
it's all you can hope for. I really hope that people that are just now starting to really tune in, or that I don't know, don't maybe
Hot dog
don't
fans?
yeah, they don't really appreciate this the way that they should, like how significant it is to even get this far.
Exactly.
And how special it is, and it should be appreciated, even if they end up going down here.
Yeah.
Um,
One
how
of four
special,
teams.
yeah, how special this season was
Yeah.
or is. Um, but I personally, if we want to throw some predictions out, I personally
Yeah.
would say that my hunch has us winning in 7. I think this is going to go the distance. I think it's going to be a war, just like this series was. But I think ultimately our skill players up top, with a little bit more experience, will find a way to prevail, I think. So, and then we'll see how the championship goes. But we can worry about that later.
Yeah.
Yep.
One
I feel
step
the
at a
same way.
time. I agree though, and I think it's for sure going to go 6 or 7. Like it's going to be back and forth, no doubt about it. The Chiefs, their
Yeah.
biggest thing, and I said the same thing going into the series against Victoria. Buckle down defensively. We're still giving up too many odd man rushes.
Mhm.
Thankfully, Cowan is Cowan, and we know that he's capable of backing them up when they need to be backed up. But it's like you shouldn't have to make your goalie do that 3, 4, 5 times a game. So defense has really got to buckle down and kind of play how they played in every overtime period in this series against Victoria because Portland's a fast team. They're a young team too, but they're fast and they're going to have the ability to blow by our defense if they're not paying attention.
And Victoria did that a lot too. So, and because I feel that's a difference between us and Portland is our offense is a little bit more methodical. They
Mhm.
don't rely on blazing by everybody all the time to
Right.
try to be successful. Um, so that's going to be potentially a mismatch with our D-men especially if they're able to take advantage of it the way Victoria was able to at times, where it just felt like they could get 2-on-1s at will.
Yeah.
But that did get cleaned up the more the series went on.
It did. I just worry about it
But
not staying that way going into another series.
yeah, so we'll
That's the
see.
only issue. But yes, I agree. But yeah, 6 or 7 for sure. I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
But I think
No,
the Chiefs find a way to get it done.
I think it's a little bit of destiny for this team this year.
Something about this team feels special.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Yeah.
And I feel like it's not just like, a bias from us, but like just something about them it just feels different,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think they find a way to get it done and then and then yeah, we'll kind of carry on from there. But um, we did it, boys. 2 down, 2 to go.
I like halfway there.
Uh,
I like it.
a couple more quick
Yeah.
news. The Chiefs winning that WHL Business Award for the year. Second highest attendance in the league. The Chiefs won this award in 22 and 23 as well, the fourth time in history that they've won the business award. Um, says the Chiefs celebrated their 40th anniversary season with a banner year across all areas of business operations, setting benchmarks in attendance, community impact, digital innovation, and league collaborations. Chiefs ranked second in WHL attendance with 220,000 fans passing through the doors of the arena, averaging over 6,500 fans a game, representing the club's highest per game average since 0809.
Nice.
Successful season included 2 sellouts, over 10,000 fans, 13 games with more than 7,500 in attendance. The Chiefs experienced 20% growth in season ticket revenue with a
Wow.
95% renewal rate and record-setting group sales. This is interesting. I didn't know this. Inspired by MLB's Seattle Mariners and NHL's Vancouver Canucks, the Chiefs executed successful promotional nights, including Education Appreciation Night, and raised over $20,000 through themed jersey sales. A new partnership with veteran-led law firm launched community initiatives like Wreaths for Fallen Heroes and Get Out and Play Challenge. Chiefs generated record high revenues in corporate sponsorship for the third consecutive season and enjoyed successful performance on digital platforms, including drawing 1 million page views on SpokaneChiefs.com, 4.6 million impressions on Instagram, and more than 750,000 views on TikTok. So that's pretty cool too.
Yeah.
And the business award is voted on by WHL's general managers.
Oh, nice.
So there's that too.
So what you're telling me is they can drop the curtain on Friday.
That's
Exactly.
exactly what I'm telling you. And then Berkeley Catton getting awarded the WHL's most sportsmanlike player for 24-25 as well. So
Pretty cool.
That's cool.
no shock to me there.
No,
I
not
mean,
at
he's
all.
a pretty level-headed guy for sure.
Yeah. Anybody that comes on this podcast has to be.
Yeah, no kidding. And then
Maybe
the
that's why
last,
Ulmer hasn't came on yet.
yeah, no shit. The last piece of big news, the Chiefs signed Gavin Burkhardt, the guy that they traded for Prince Albert last week. They signed him and he will be in Spokane next season.
Love
So
it.
huge signing there. He's going to be a guy that's going to bring size and skill and speed. Right-handed shot, projected to be a pretty solid player. From California, played with the Chicago Mission 15U AAA this year, where he scored 71 points in 59 games. So he joins the 2009 born draft class with Ozzie McIntyre, Harry Mattern, and Bryson Roberts. So
Love it.
What a core,
the
possibly.
future is bright still in
Yeah,
Spokane.
what a core.
So Matt Bardsley working his magic.
Mhm.
And boys, we got 2 days until game 1 against the Winterhawks.
Loving it. How did those guys get in the Western Conference Finals, though?
Portland?
Yeah.
I know. I mean, they went up 3-1 on PG, and PG battled back and lost in game 7. And then, Everett, and I knew Everett wasn't going to make it to the finals.
Me too, but I was pulling for Seattle to beat them in the first round.
I was too, and I feel like that they gave Everett all they could handle, and
They did. Maybe they wore him down a little bit.
I think that maybe they did. I mean, Everett dealt with some injuries throughout the playoffs too so far, so
Yeah.
that kind of hindered him a little bit too. But once again, I'm just going to throw the dagger right back at you, Everett fans. You guys choke, and you guys can't get it done.
The only thing I have to say to all that is, damn you, Portland.
I know, but you know what? This is our year. The Chiefs are going to get it done.
I agree.
Well
I
done.
agree.
Any final thoughts, boys? TC, you look like you're falling asleep over there.
Yeah, well, on the note of being 2 hours ahead, it is now 11:38 p.m. out here in central Wisconsin. After staying up till 1:30 in the morning yesterday and then getting up at 6 a.m. So
It's early then.
yeah, so I mean you could say I'm ready to go to bed, but no, I mean I'm excited for game 1. I'm glad I'll be home in time for it. So let's get it done.
Have some cheese for us while you're there, would you?
Well, I had some spotted cow if you're familiar with what that is.
It's close enough.
Yeah, so I had plenty of that today. Turns out engineering business trips are just a lot of beer. So it's kind of cool. But
Can't complain about that.
yeah.
Cappy, any final thoughts?
Damn you, Portland.
I
I kind of want to get some inflatable airplanes and cell phones to throw on the ice.
Oh my God.
They're like a disease, man. They just don't go away.
They
That's what
are.
they do. That's what they do.
Portland herpes.
Yeah, well, I think that's Everett that has that stuff, but
That's true.
yeah.
Nope.
Go Chiefs, go.
Go Chiefs, go. All right, boys. We'll catch up next week.
Sounds good.
All right.
See you at the game on Friday, boys.
See you boys on Friday.
Keep your heads up at the blue line.
Yep.